Alright, hey guys, my name is Allison and I am getting ready to bulk film some videos for my channel. So you're going to be seeing a lot of me wearing the same shirt, and that's cool, that's great. I really don't care. A shirt is a shirt. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started with my first video, and that is a book tag video. It's been probably a little over a month since I did a book tag video, so I thought it would be fun to try another one. And this one is called the Reader Problems Book Tag. So I read a few of the questions, and they're like things that readers have problems with. You know, like some people are like, oh, it's, you know, 21st century problems or whatever. Well, this is the same thing, but just for readers. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I did find this tag on a blog called Paper Pizza Blog, and it's the blog is very it has quite a loud personality. It's a fun blog. So I'll link that in the description below. And I don't know, this is not the original creator of this tag, and I'll try to remember to find the original creator, but if I don't hate me for it, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So the first question is, you have 20,000 books on your TBR. How in the world do you decide what to read next? I really don't have a great system for picking new books. I really just go with what looks and sounds interesting. I don't read synopses for books anymore because they have spoilers in them most of the time. So I really just pick what looks good, and I don't know, I'll read a blurb or something about the book, and if it's from an author that I have already read and they liked it, then that usually helps me decide. But I usually just go off of feelings. Yeah, usually it's whatever I'm in the mood for. Next question. You're halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you put it down, or are you committed? I am a chronic DNFer. I DNF books all the time because there are so many books out there that I just can't make myself read something that I'm not gonna say absolutely loving, because I have read books that I'm like, it's alright, it's not super amazing, but it's not awful either. Like, I'm not downright hating it. That said, usually when I DNF a book, I don't ever pick it up again, just because I don't know, I can't get over how much I disliked it the first time I tried reading it, so trying to make myself read it again just doesn't make any sense. So I usually, when I DNF a book, I permanently DNF a book. The end of the year is coming and you're behind on your reading challenge. Do you try to catch up, and if so, how? I did do this, not just this last year, but in 2019, I was like 6 books away from meeting my goal of 100 books, I think, and I was reading books I would have never reached for because they were short. I read a couple of comic books, I read some novellas, it was ridiculous. So now, instead of setting crazy high reading goals, I pick something low. Like last year I set my goal for 52 and I ended up reading 74 books, I think, and then for 2021 my reading goal is 48, and I'll probably pass that at some point. Just because once I set a goal for myself, I kind of have to hit it, even though I don't know, it's not necessarily cheating because Goodreads only counts books that are on Goodreads. So now my philosophy is, if I don't think I'm going to reach a goal, then I just don't set my goal that high. And that's not trying to challenge myself, because trying to read 48 books is definitely going to be a challenge this year. I can already tell, because it's the 6th of January and I haven't finished a book yet. And I've been reading every day since January started. So it's going to be an issue. 48 books is going to be my goal for this year. The covers of a series you love don't match. How do you cope? Well, usually I go out hunting until I can find the covers that match. This doesn't happen very often anymore, and I don't know. I was trying to collect the original hardcovers of the Ugly series by Scott Westerfeld, and I had like the last two in hardcover, and I, for the life of me, could not find the first two in hardcover, so I gave up. I got rid of them, and I really don't know why I didn't just get rid of the two copies I had that were paperbacks and just waited for a hardcover to show up, because if I ever change my mind, I'm gonna have to go back and try to find those other two that I already had in hardcovers. I don't know why I do this to myself, but normally if it's a series that the covers don't match, I'll try to find at least one set that does match. What bothers me more often is if the books are mix of paperback and hardback. I would prefer a series to be either all paperbacks or all hardbacks. Covers don't really bother me too much. Okay, maybe they do a little bit, but if I'm gonna be nitpicky about one thing, it would be to have them all either be paperback or either be hardcover. That would just be my preference. Everyone and their mother loves a book that you do not. Who do you bond with over your shared feelings? Well, usually my friend Brianna and I typically agree for the most part about books. So if she reads a book and she says that she hated it and I haven't read it yet, I probably won't pick it up, and vice versa. Other than that, I vent my feelings to my husband. He usually puts up with me ranting and raving about books that I have disliked. So I don't know, I don't really have any like in real life friends that read. I have friends online that read, and I guess my husband reads. He's my friend. So if we're gonna like disagree about something, it's usually the few books that we've read together. So basically that's it. So my friend Brianna and my husband are the two people that I share my feelings with. You're reading a book in public and you're about to start crying. How do you deal? Well, first of all, I don't really read books in public because I don't go anywhere. I don't live somewhere where I have to commute to work. I don't have an out-of-the-house job, so I don't really have that chance. Although I will say I don't really like crying in front of my family while I'm reading, because just the emotions are like so... If I'm crying while I'm reading, like, that book is getting me in the feels hard. So I really don't want to be around people when I'm reading books that are like that. So if I did have a commute or was like reading in public or whatever, I probably wouldn't choose not to read a book that I knew was going to make me cry. So there's the answer for that one. The sequel to a book you loved just came out, but you've forgotten a lot of what happens. Are you going to reread it? Well, if it's one that I loved, yes. And I've forgotten a lot of it, yes, I will. For instance, the fourth book in the Bone Season series is getting released in February, and it's been a long time since I read the first three books, and I'm rereading them before, or not necessarily before, but I'm rereading those before I pick up the new one. So, yes, if a book that I loved came out a while ago and it's been a long time since I read it, I will reread it before I read the sequel. You do not want anyone to borrow your books. How do you politely say no when someone asks? Well, the only person that really wants to borrow my books is my husband, and I watch him like a hawk. Sometimes, I think one time I even bought him the ebook version of a book that I wanted him to read because I did not want him to like ruin my copy of it, which is super, super dumb. Like he's not gonna take it in the car or take it anywhere. Like he's literally gonna read it in bed. So letting him read my copy is really not that big of a deal. I'm just very particular about my books, and I don't want people to ruin them because they're expensive. I consider my books to be an investment, so to just let anyone just borrow them, I would probably say no and be like, well, you know where your local library is at, or if you really want to read it that bad, you can just go buy it yourself. Because the people that ask to borrow books are people that don't read a lot. They're like casual readers. They don't read very often, and they're only asking because you won't shut up about the books. So that's just been my experience. The people that usually ask me if they can borrow my books are people that don't really read that often. So it really doesn't bother me to tell them no and that they can go buy their own copy. You have picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over this reading slump? So usually when I have a slump or I'm in a slump, I will reread a favorite book, or I will just not read at all. I will put my focus on some of my other hobbies that I have instead of reading. I don't like to force myself to read because I'll just hate everything that I'm reading, and a lot of the times I get into a slump because of either a really terrible book or a really good book. So I just kind of let it do its thing or whatever. I don't know. I usually try not to read. If I pick up a book and I want to reread, and I like to reread a favorite, and that's not working, then I'll just stop reading for a few days. And usually that's what gets me out of a slump. There are so many books coming out that you are dying to read. How many do you end up buying? Well, lately there really hasn't been that many books coming out that I've been dying to read. I haven't really kept up on, I don't keep up on new releases at all. I just have my favorite authors that I watch for, that I'm waiting patiently for them to release new books. So I don't have tons of books. Maybe for the whole year I might have quite a few, but I'll probably end up buying them all because I don't know, I just would prefer to only buy books that I know I'm absolutely going to read. So I don't really have a list of 100 books that are coming out this year that I'm gonna buy. I might have 20. I don't know. I don't remember. After you purchase all these books you're dying to read, how long do they sit on your shelves before you get to them? This is actually a good question because I do have quite a few books that have been sitting on my shelf probably since July of last year. So July 2020. I don't know. They sit for a few months, I guess, until I'm in the mood for it. Some of them I read right away and some of them I don't. It really just depends on which ones I'm in the mood to read. Okay, and that was the last question. So that was the Reader Problems book tag. I will put the questions below in the description so you guys can answer if you want, and you can just consider yourselves all tagged. Thanks so much for watching this video and hanging out with me while I chat, and I will see you in another one. Bye!